We have got just one break tonight, and that is a half case of 2019 Heritage Baseball is what we've got on tap. As usual, there is a little bit of pre-break info that we go over. So let's get rolling with that here before we start cutting into things. So feedback, I've got you on the wrong page. Now we're on the right page. Feedback is 100% automated. I have it set up that way so that you don't ever have to wait on me. Anytime you leave positive feedback for me, you're going to instantly get positive feedback in return. And of course, the second thing there is to say thank you. I do appreciate everyone who hangs out with me. Those of you who bid and break and chat with me are much appreciated, and happy to have you tonight. This is a list of things that are listed on eBay. We're going to be breaking them over the next 5 days. So it's all up and ready for bidding right now if you so choose. Tomorrow night, we're going to break the Origins football first off the line. I've only got 4 boxes of it, and, it's been sitting on this table forever. We're finally going to get into it on Wednesday night, tomorrow night. And we also have 2 new releases tomorrow. Topps Inception Baseball, which is going to be a full case break, and Cornerstones Basketball, which will also be a full case break. Thursday night will find us opening a 3-box inner case of Onyx Preferred Players autographed baseballs. We're going to open Leaf Draft Football 2019 Leaf Draft Football. These are the Hobby Blasters, so they have an extra hit in them, meaning we're going to have 60 hits in this break. Hits are packaged separately. That's all we're going to break. The packs themselves just have base cards in them, and they're going to stay sealed. We're not going to open those live in the break. Instead, each team is going to get a bunch of those sealed packs sent to them along with anything that they pull. Leaf Valiant Baseball by the full case and some National Treasures football by the full case will wrap up Thursday night. On Friday, a Leaf autographed football jersey, Cornerstones Basketball, Inception Baseball, and more 2019 Leaf Draft Football. Saturday's an off night because you know why? It's March Madness, man. We gotta watch some hoops on Saturday. On Sunday, we'll open a Gold Rush autographed basketball jersey, a half case of encased football. I know, right? What am I going to do, though? That's what they gave me, 3.5 cases. So, we've opened the full cases. We're down to that half that is left. We will also open case number 6 of Valiant Baseball, and then we're going to open a full case of Leaf Metal Sports Heroes. That is a multi-sport product. Its spots are sold by first letter of the last name. They are all listed in the football category. Checklist looks pretty awesome on it, so hopefully we'll have some fun with that. Easy tonight, no free shipping breaks. Our only break is Heritage. That was a paid shipping break. Should be on the way to you roughly Friday. By that I mean if the week goes tremendously well, maybe it gets out a little bit early. If the week goes just down the tracks in the wrong direction, it might go a day later. My best estimate is that it will be on the way to you Friday. So this is 6 boxes of 2019 Heritage Baseball. It's a half case break number 4. It is the back half of a case. And of course, it ended tonight on eBay Tuesday night, the 19th of March. Team names are on the left. The winning bidder's user ID is up in lights across from each team. We have one that didn't sell. That's the Marlins. You'll see it designated there as no bids buyback. Everything else has got a username associated with the team. And last little bit of info here. You're going to notice here in a second, the background's going to go slightly out of focus. And don't worry, we will still be able to see our cards without any problems whatsoever, if I can get it set right, that is. I just like to look at them up really close, and I don't like using autofocus. So that's the deal there. And it is your first break with us tonight. Well, welcome. I'm not exactly sure how I should pronounce your username there. It's and I'm really bad at guessing how to pronounce not only actual names but usernames too. So I would say like Ibalote, which is totally wrong, I'm sure. But anyway, despite the fact that I butchered your username, I feel quite certain. Welcome. Nice to have you tonight. So for those of you who may not have opened Heritage in the past, this is an either-or kind of situation. We will find an autograph or a relic card in each box. There will be a box loader in each box as well. And there'll be loads of high number, well, I call them high number short prints. They're basically base card short prints. They start at the high end of the series, starting with card number 401 and forward, which is why I tend to call them the high number short prints, but technically they're base card short prints. Some of those I may catch as we go through live. A lot of them, though, of those base card shorts, I won't find them until I sort. If I do see them when I go through, of course, I will point them out. We'll also have some action image photo variations and maybe a handful of other variations. Those we're a lot more likely to catch live. And, of course, we'll point them out as they come along. And we've got several different options for our box loaders. There's an option of a poster. There's an option of an actual 1970 buyback card. And then we have the option of these, which are, they call them Super Baseball. They're just really oversized cards here. That is a facsimile signature. I imagine everybody knows that. It's just a printed on signature, not an actual sig. And so our first box topper there goes out to the Baltimore Orioles. I'm going to call you Ed. Okay, well, Ed I can handle. That is probably one of the few things I can actually pronounce correctly. Oh, your break name is Firefighter. Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, most of the time people have different names on eBay, of course, than they have on YouTube, and so I don't often do well associating who goes with what. Sometimes I do, but my poor old brain has a hard time with some of that. But I am surprised you said I got your username pronunciation basically correct. I'm shocked. That's so unlike me. Yeah, I really am bad at it. Terrible at guessing how a name should be pronounced or a username. And then the worst of it is, on a lot of the name pronunciations, I can even hear them pronounced like bunches of times when I'm watching a game or something, and it comes time for me to pronounce it when I see it written on a card or whatever, and I just can't spit it out. I just butcher it. I can hear it in my head, and it comes out like I'm speaking a foreign language. It's awful, but those who break with me often, they kind of get a kick out of how badly I butcher some of it. So there's that. All right, so we are once again, I'm sure you're probably going to see some cards that are going to go through here that I am not going to catch, that are those base short prints, but please don't sweat it. I absolutely will catch them before they get out the door to you, just by simply looking at the codes on the back after the fact. So these are little game cards. As you can see, they have a really heavy crease in them because they're actually kind of, they have a, I don't know what to call it, but they're kind of, you know, cut there in the center. So they're all going to look like that when you open them up. But anyway, that one is the Oakland A's Chris Davis. We'll probably find a fair amount of those. We will also find, we haven't seen any yet, but we'll find a bunch of league leader cards. And our league leader cards will all have different, is that just a base? Yeah, it is. Will all have multiple teams on it. So any of those cards that we find with multiple teams are going to set in what I call the housekeeping area, which is right up here. And then at the end of the break, we'll use random.org to find them a home. We'll probably find some news flashback cards. Those will go up there into housekeeping as well. And then and now, this particular one happens to have both positions with the same team. But I'm still going to set them up here in housekeeping, and I will tell you why, because it's easier for me just to keep them all together at once, even though that particular one happened to feature the same team on both spots. That's not always going to be the case. Yep, that one's base too. So we just kind of keep them up there together, making life easy. So I'm really happy that Mike Trout is signing that gigantic contract to stay with the Angels. I mean, I kind of, you know, I'm a little old school like that. I like the fact that the guy just wants to have the one team, you know. That's where he's been. That's where he wants to stay. He's all in. He's not going to even dabble in free agency. And I kind of respect that. He's just like, yeah, that's a good offer. This is my home. I'm staying here. So, I mean, well, good offer is putting it mildly, right? It's an incredible offer. It's just shy of $430 million over 12 years, was it? I think. At any rate, yeah, it's an excellent offer. Okay, so this is a chrome parallel. Some of them refract, some of them don't. This one obviously does refract, which means it's numbered to 570. Now, if we find some of these chrome parallels that do not refract, they are numbered to 999. You'll note that it does have a little bit of curvature to it, which is something that tends to happen when we find cards with that type of coating on them. I don't remember if we had the hot box or not in the first half of this case. I know that I should remember it, but it's been a little bit since we opened it, and I don't remember it. But if we were to run across the hot box, we would find potentially chrome purple parallels that would be unnumbered but are found only in a hot box. So our hit from this box is a Clubhouse Collection relic, Jacob deGrom for the New York Mets. You said you told someone earlier that Mike Trout can thank Bryce Harper for the price of that contract. Yeah, you're not kidding. I mean, for sure, Bryce kind of set the bar a little bit, but I mean, man, I think we all knew Mike Trout was gonna just, it didn't matter what benchmark was there, that guy was gonna blow it out of the water. I don't even imagine anybody would have entertained him going for less than a $400 million contract, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. I mean, the kind of money that we're talking about for this guy, almost $430 million to play baseball. But, ooh, he is kind of worth it, right? I mean, yeah, Mike Trout's pretty much the best. You said, you were saying, yeah, Bryce, because Bryce was talking about getting him to come to Philadelphia in 2020. Well, yeah, I mean, for sure, that might have pushed the envelope a little for the Angels to get a deal done. But I suspect that the Angels never had any intention of letting him even think about testing free agency. I mean, why would you? He's got the best player in the game. I'd say probably the unquestionably best player in the game. It'd be crazy to let him walk. I do wish, I am really glad that he decided to stay with the Angels, but they are going to have to bring some more pieces in there. I mean, Ohtani's obviously great. We're not going to see him pitch again this year, but we'll see him DH again probably in a couple of months. So he was a nice addition, and they've made some other additions, but they're going to have to keep putting pieces around that guy so that they can really get where they need to go. I mean, you got the best player in the league. You don't want to be sitting out in playoffs every year. So I don't think they're quite done spending money yet. They have got a ways to go. Well, thought that was maybe a base short print, but I was wrong. It is not. But it probably does kind of aggravate Bryce Harper, I would bet. He's probably happy for him, but at the same time, he's probably going, man, I had the richest contract in baseball for like a week, and I had to set out through free agency forever. This is an action image variation J.D. Martinez for the Red Sox. So, in that sense, everybody naturally, I think, anybody in sports particularly, you're competitive. You want to be the best. You want to be number one in whatever it is. So to only have the richest contract for like a week or something probably makes him mad. He's like, oh, man. But then again, how are you mad when you're making that much money? I mean, I think any of us would be happy to leave our jobs and go make $330 million or $430 million, depending on which of the two you're comparing with. So box number 1 in the books. And we have got, what do we have coming next week for baseball? Inception. Right. Inception on time this year for a change. Last year, you probably remember, they moved the date a bunch and we ended up not actually seeing Inception till something like June. Maybe it was awful. This year, we're going to be on time and get our Inception fix early like it's supposed to be. So our box topper here, this is an actual card from 1970, and it's a pretty good one, Jim Bunning and the Phillies. 50th anniversary stamp added to it, of course. And as one might expect from a 1970 original card, it is dreadfully miscut, ridiculously miscut. And it's well loved. It's got plenty of little soft edges and corners, and often they have little small creases and things as well, but hey, they're free. They just add them in for fun, so we'll take the win and go onward with it. But it's pretty cool to have the 1970 Jim Bunning if you've got the Phillies. At least I think it is. I like Jim Bunning, but yeah, back in those days, most of the cards looked exactly like that, like crazy, terribly miscut. You just like thought, what did they not look at them when they were cutting them? Some of them. Oh, you have the Phillies. Okay. Well, all right. Well, cool. Well, then that's a nice hit for you then with the Jim Bunning. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it would not grade out well. I mean, the corners are pretty well loved on that thing too. I mean, that's kind of what I tend to look at on the older ones, obviously. I look at centering, and then I go almost immediately to the corners. And I would have to say that one, while it wasn't used in anybody's bike spokes, it also, you know, wasn't preserved in a pristine environment either. We'll say it like that. Severino and the Yankees Clubhouse Collection Relic, our hit out of box number 2. You saw a buyback that had the stamp on Bob Gibson's face. Well, now who does that, man? I mean, Topps ought to know better than that. It's one thing when the original card itself has seen better days, but it's quite another when you put the stamp on the player's face. I mean, they know better. Shame on Topps for that. But then again, I mean, they do give the box toppers to us free, so, well, in as much as it doesn't count in the card count, I'm sure it's factored into the price of the box. And while I know we are breaking baseball, if anybody happens to have on March Madness, the play-in game with Belmont and Temple, feel free to, you know, throw up a score every once in a while on that. Oh, it was a league leaders card. I got you. So yeah, they would have had a harder time probably finding a spot to put the stamp that didn't impact somebody. Because that stamp, let's face it, it's kind of big on there. I mean, you kind of look at it and think, gosh, could you have not had a smaller one that you could use there, Topps? But it's pretty good size. So yeah, if it's on league leaders, I could understand how that understand more easily how that could have happened. For sure. I saw my Cincinnati Reds, I guess, are making Castillo our opening day starter. So we'll see how that goes. The Reds tried to punch it up this year, mostly with what I'm calling one-year rentals, but if we could maybe just not lose almost 100 games, it would be great. My poor Cincinnati Reds been bad for a long time. So here is hoping that maybe some of our rentals will at least give us a fun season till they depart. Of course, Puig did hit a grand slam the other day. So there's that. No word on whether or not he licked his bat before or after, but either way, I guess that's a good start. That looks like that's going to be an action image variation for Jacob deGrom. Let's find out if we're right. Indeed, it is the Mets action image with Mr. deGrom. I would think that your Phillies will do pretty well this year, Ed. I mean, obviously, you've got the addition of Bryce Harper, who promptly got pegged on the ankle. I mean, did that not just make you furious? Oh my gosh, I would have been so mad as a fan. You just paid this guy all this money, and in spring training, he gets beamed on the ankle, like, straight away, practically. The good news is I think the MRI and everything came back clean. So, I mean, I don't think you've got any fracture or anything like that, but still, it's like, come on. I don't remember who the pitcher was that beamed him, but still. I imagine, you know, you're right. There's maybe some chemistry issues they've got to work out, but I expect, you know, they've got a lot of good young talent. You add Harper into the mix, and it may take them a couple months to get the chemistry right, but I expect the Phillies to be pretty good this year. And certainly by next year should be quite good, and I really think he will be this year. Ooh, I see a 1 of 1 in the offing. Oh, and it's for my Reds. That, like, never happens. And I think the Reds sold for maybe, like, $7 or something tonight. Sold for next to nothing. But anyway, if you have the Cincinnati Reds, you have Scooter Gennett. I like Scooter. A little Scooter Gennett. 1 of 1. Topps calls them superfractors, right? Yeah, I have to stop and think. Panini calls them one thing, Topps calls them another. I believe superfractor is in the Topps vernacular, but regardless, the important part is the 1 of 1 part. So Cincinnati, yay. That might be the only good thing that happens to Cincinnati this year. Oh, is in card breaks? No, I don't think so. I think we're going to be better too. Maybe not contending kind of good, but not on pace to lose 100 games kind of bad either. So we'll take it. Take what I can get. Yeah, I agree. The Reds, that is they definitely, Ed typed in super grats to the Reds, and I agree with that. That's an excellent return on investment if you got Cincy tonight. So that's an example of a base card short print. It's one I happened to actually catch live going through. There's lots of them that, frankly, I don't catch because the images don't vary that much. And I will find them in the sort, but I just don't necessarily see them to call them live as we go through. But you can expect there's a handful in every box. You're probably going to recognize them possibly more readily than I do. Because I haven't broken enough Heritage yet this year to recognize them offhand. And what I have broken has been spaced apart by a week or so in between every time. So there's that as well. So much stuff coming out. You got to just find a place to squeeze things in, basically. But we eventually get it all done, one way or another. Oh, your favorite player was Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose. You know that's my sister's favorite player too. I actually have two favorite players all time. One is Johnny Bench, Big Red Machine days also. Teammate, of course, of Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose. So this is an oversized Nolan Ryan with the facsimile signature on it, headed to the Mets, our box topper there. And my other favorite player is Hank Aaron. So, yeah, my two faves of all time, Hank Aaron and Johnny Bench. Well, it's kind of cool that Pete Rose is your favorite player. My sister and my dad, my brother-in-law and my stepmother and I got, well, my stepmother really wasn't part of the conversation too much. She just kind of sat back and listened. But especially my sister and my dad and I at Christmas this year, we got into a big debate at the dinner table as to whether or not Pete Rose should be allowed into the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, if that gives you an idea of what my family's like. We're sports nuts. So my mom too. Of course, my parents not together anymore, so she wasn't there to be part of that conversation, but she's a sports nut too. Another action image variation. That one is KB, Mr. Chris Bryant, Cubbies. Gina's here. Gina, how are you? And you did tell me that Vermont would be in the tournament. I remember that. And then I believe you further told me I better watch out because they were capable of going on a run. So I haven't done my brackets yet, but I did not forget that. Justin Upton, that is a short print base for the Angels. Oh, your mom saw Pete Rose in Vegas and got you a signed bat? That's pretty cool. He used to do a lot of signing. I'm assuming he probably still does. I mean, he's getting... I think I read somewhere not too awfully long ago that his health is declining a little. He's having a hard time traveling as much, I think. So maybe he's not going to be doing them as frequently as he once did. But I think he used to sign a lot anyway. Pete Rose, I mean. You always you always bring it down to for and against. Yeah. Well, I mean, we always have a variety of opinions. It's an Ohtani base short print. And you know, most of my family says he should be in the Hall of Fame. And I kind of tend to be not sure that I'm totally on board with that, surprisingly enough, saying that he's a Red. But I don't know, there's something about just the integrity of it, and, you know, little kids looking up to them and stuff, and see Astros with Jose Altuve scratch-off game card. I don't know. I go back and forth on it myself, but they tried to make a convincing argument. And I do see both sides of it, but at the same time, it's hard to separate the two, because the reason that he's not in is because he was betting on baseball when he was involved with baseball. So, I mean, that's a pretty bad, that's a pretty bad sitch to find yourself in terms of integrity of the sport and all that, but his accomplishments, his on-the-field achievements, absolutely he deserves to be in that regard, but then where do you draw the line? So, as I said, I can go either way. On any given day, you could talk me into either direction, yay or nay, where that's concerned. All right, so we have a black border for the Red Sox. It is Eduardo Nunez. Now, these are not numbered, okay, but typically those black borders are, Topps usually will release the print run. Traditionally, those have been 50 or less. So I'm going to work on the assumption that we're the same this year, and that is likely a card with a print run of about 50. The black border, I mean. Gina, you said, well, Ed says he thinks that he'll probably get in, but not until he's already passed on, which Gina says she thinks would be sad if they waited that long and he didn't get to enjoy it. Honestly, I don't know if they'll ever let him in. I really don't. I mean, maybe way down the road when everybody's forgotten why he got banned to begin with. So, like maybe our grandkids see him get inducted or something. I just don't see it being anytime soon, but you never know. Lorenzo Cain, Brewers, that is chrome parallel refractor to 570. So Gina, what's the draw for Vermont? I don't really remember a lot of who drew where, other than taking a look at how things might project out for my Kentucky Wildcats, because I haven't done my brackets yet. So I'll be sitting down to do my brackets, I guess, tomorrow, really. I'm going to run out of time if I don't. We're going to go ahead and move that one right now over into our league leader pile. And so I don't know. Where's Vermont play? Who's your first matchup? I definitely see some teams that are ripe to be knocked off. And to be perfectly candid, although I hate, maybe I shouldn't say it out loud. Well, let's just say I see some upsets that could happen in the region where my Wildcats play. I won't put the rest of it out into the universe, but for that anyway. But I do see the potential for a couple of things to happen that might be unfortunate. And I'm not entirely sure that Tennessee doesn't get taken out by Cincinnati, just by the way. Not for nothing, Cincinnati, I think, was seeded incorrectly. I think they should have been a much higher seed than they are. And playing in Columbus on top of that, I mean, you may as well just be right in their backyard. Clubhouse Collection Relic for the Twins, Eddie Rosario. They got a 13 and they play Florida State in Connecticut, 4 hours away. And there are 20 buses full of fans heading there. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'd say you are going to give them a little bit of a home court advantage then. But I'm going to tell you what now, FSU is not, I don't know that FSU is an easy out either. Okay, I think Florida State looks pretty solid in my estimation. But goodness knows we all learned, especially last year, anything can happen. Poor Virginia. They will never live down being the first 1 seed to ever lose to a 16 seed in the history of the tournament. That's just awful. Maybe they'll finally get where they're supposed to be this year. You know, I mean, last several years, Virginia comes in highly regarded and with decent seeding, and then they get bounced really early on. Maybe this is the year they don't get bounced, right? This is the year they actually get there. I thought that looked like it might be a what am I trying to say? A base card short print, so I flipped it over before I laid it down, and it is Javi Baez for the Cubs. All right. Making progress. Halfway there. 3 have been completed. 3 left to go, counting the one that's coming out of the box right now, so just no way to get through that many cards quickly. All right, let's see who's in our super size card on this box topper. Is Shohei for the Angels. Mr. Shohei Ohtani. I'll tell you, one of the matchups that I am really interested to watch is Murray State and Marquette. Ja Morant and Marcus Howard, both prolific scorers. And, of course, Ja Morant, who's basically single-handedly gotten Murray State into the tournament, more or less. And he's going to be, I would say, a top 5 pick in the draft. I'm going to go with top 5. Maybe if he really shows out in the tournament, he gets up into the top 3. But where he sits now, I think he's probably top 5. And then, of course, Marcus Howard, you know, he can sit there and drop 40 or 50 for Marquette. So I think that game's going to be fun to watch. It's a Thursday afternoon game, I think. So I don't know. You guys know I love my March Madness. Just generally speaking, it's a good time for sports. We've got the NFL draft right around the corner. Opening day right around the corner for baseball. March Madness for college basketball. Then we go into the finals with the NBA. It's a good time to be a sports fan. Oh, you watch Murray State play? Yeah, I think they are. I think they're going to be good, but I just think that's going to be a particularly interesting matchup because they both have those high-scoring guys on there. A Bryce Harper high number. Well, I call it high number. A base card short print. I'm trying to retrain myself to call it the correct thing after years of not. Ahmed Rosario is the same base card short print. And a little scratch-off game for Tony Rizzo and the Cubbies. So I am looking forward to Inception tomorrow. One of the cool things to me about Inception is that they have added, I mean, this has happened a few years ago, but they made a conscious effort, I think, to add in more of what I call the young superstars of the game, like your Mike Trouts and that kind of stuff. And sometimes they come out pretty readily. You know, in 2016, I think, is that the first year they really made a strong push with the young guys? I can't remember, but I think it was around that time. I had a bunch of Mike Trout come out, and in one case, I had 2 different Mike Trout patch autos come out of one case. One of them was, I think, numbered to around 50, and the other one was a little bit lower, but I mean, crazy good stuff coming out. Last year, it didn't seem like they had as much of those type young superstar type players as they had the year before, but I gather they are still included again this year too. So, you know, your Aaron Judges and your Ohtanis and those kind of guys, hopefully we're going to be able to see them come out of Inception along with our rookies and traditional hits that you would expect in a product called Inception. Oh, now look at that. Austin Hedges is not wanting to cooperate, so we'll just go ahead and grab him right there off the bottom, since he's trying to make things difficult for us. Jesus Aguilar, Brewers. This one does not refract, so it's going to be numbered to 999 on the chrome parallel. Of course, we're not terribly far away from Bowman coming out either. Although, I guess we have... Gypsy Queen will come before Bowman, I think. It'll be Inception, Gypsy Queen, and then maybe Bowman. I don't know. Topps changes that calendar so often. Release calendar, Topps and Panini both do. Every time I think I've got a release date memorized, it's wrong. Like the Leaf Metal Sports Heroes that we're not, as it turns out, opening until like 5 days from now. And it actually came out today, but I thought it was coming out Friday. I don't know. They change all that stuff up and make life difficult. Joe Torre. Nice. St. Louis Cardinals. I love that hit. That is all kinds of awesome. If you've got St. Louis, I'm a little jealous of that card. I am. That's a really nice hit, I think. Of course, throwback players there. That is a reprint. That is not an actual original 1970 card signed by him. That is a reprint of the original 1970, but reprinted. And then his signature, of course, added. But by my estimation, that's a cool hit for the cards. St. Louis with Joe Torre. You said Clay Matthews went to the Rams. Really? Huh. I did not see that. I did see that Randall Cobb, though, went from the Packers to the Cowboys. I did notice that. I think on a one-year deal, maybe like $5 million or something. But I'm not surprised Clay Matthews is gone from there, but I am a little surprised that he ended up with the Rams. I wouldn't have projected that to be a good landing spot, but then again, the Rams did just, who'd they just trade out? They traded somebody to the Steelers, and I think they traded a couple of linemen, I want to say, out with the, the Rams. So maybe it is a good landing spot for him. I wondered who was going to pick up Vontaze Burfict. It figures it would be the Raiders. That just figures. Oh, well, good luck to them. He spends half his time suspended for dirty hits and the other half of his time suspended for PEDs. So, good luck. Good luck with Vontaze. Have fun. Especially when he gets to Las Vegas. Oh, boy. And our buyback card, Rick Reese, Twins. Same as before. Really, particularly that corner's hideous. None of the corners are good, but that one's really bad. And terribly miscut, but that's okay. It just means it had a good home originally. Somebody loved it and carried it with them, and we'll consider it part of its charm. So, Ed, do you collect any sports other than baseball, or are you strictly baseball? I'm always interested in that sort of thing, because there's definitely people who do all the sports, and then there's some people who are really steadfastly just one sport. You used to collect all of them, and now you just do baseball. It's hard to collect them all anymore, isn't it? I mean, there's so many releases, and they're so expensive. Everything is really pricey these days. It makes it difficult. You have to really, I guess, pick and choose your your spots when you're multi-sport breaking, unless you just resell a lot. So there's that. I mean, collecting to keep is what I was thinking of, but if you're reselling, it's probably easier to do multiples than if you're not. Relic Kit came out right away. Clubhouse Collection, Edwin Encarnacion for the Indians. Well, exactly. I think, you know what? You are like so many of us, Ed. I think a lot of us, I don't know if you're in my age range or not. I'm making some assumptions that maybe I shouldn't, that you're close to my age range. But anyway, I do know that a lot of people that break now, both on both sides of it, doing breaks and buying into breaks, at one point just gave up on collecting for a while. I'm included in that. You know, we all just got frustrated with that massive glut of products that came out there for a while. Everything was so overproduced, and it just drove the value into the ground. And I think a lot of us just kind of said and left for a good long while. The Phillies, that is a base card short print with Herrera. And then when you come back, it's like it was a whole new world, right? I mean, because when I stopped messing with cards, there were not breaks, and there were not, you know, guaranteed autograph hits and relic hits and all these expensive things. So it was a bit to get used to, but boy, I do love it. Justin Smoke for the Blue Jays, Toronto scratch off. But I know a lot of people who break these days say the exact same thing that I just said, and that you are saying, you know, that you just at a point in time you just walked away. Oh, you keep yours. Yeah, so you keep yours. Okay. Yeah, that definitely makes it a lot harder to do multi-sport at that point, because it does get cost prohibitive. Okay, you're younger than me too then. All right, so yeah, so I was putting you up closer to my age range. I've got a few years on you there, so apologies, man. But I do feel you. I quit really. I still somewhat collected through high school. I did a lot of it when I was younger. My cousins collected, and a lot of my friends did, and you know, I come from a family of collectors anyway. And then I scaled it way back when I was in high school, and really, I didn't get rid of what I had, but I also didn't add to it very much. And then when I was in college, I sold everything. And boy, I really wish I hadn't done that. But I did. I sold everything I had. And then I walked away from it for years. I didn't come back around until 6 years ago, something like that. And I was like, ooh, it's a whole different kind of thing now. Oh, you were big into baseball growing up, and then in high school, you went more the way of bands than sports. I hear you. One of my cousins did that too. He switched over from being interested in collecting baseball cards and things to collecting, this is going to sound weird, but the Beach Boys and Kiss, right? Is that a combination for you? But but he liked both of those bands a lot. And so he would have posters and would collect all kinds of stuff for both the Beach Boys and Kiss. And I recently found someplace I was buying some other stuff. They had a hobby box of Beach Boys trading cards, if you can even imagine. So, of course, I had to buy them and sent them to him. I was like, you know, supposedly you could get some hits in it. I'm sure it wasn't anything of any real interest, but it was just more for the nostalgia as much as anything else. It just made me think of him, so I sent them off. He doesn't live near me anymore, so I think it cost me more to mail that box of cards than I paid for the box of cards. Hey, you said your local scene was good, so you were always out at shows. Oh, okay. Well, you had a good band thing there. Oh, Gina, I just missed your comment up there until I saw that Texas Law Dog jumped in and said, Gina, I love your comment. And I'm thinking, what comment did I not see Gina write? You said if you were a baseball card, you'd card out at a 4, rough around the corners with some wrinkles. You do always make me laugh. I can't believe I missed that earlier. Somehow I was looking back at fourth at what Ed was saying. I missed that. Texas Law Dog, I owe you one for pointing that out to me, because I would have been sad if I missed that altogether. That's very funny. Gina's always good for entertainment when she's here. She always has very good things to share with us. This is numbered to 999. It is Paul DeYoung for the St. Louis Cardinals with the chrome parallel. Oh, Gina, that's pretty good. Yeah, right. I think she probably did, Ed, type it in about the same time that I was talking about the buyback card. My guess is that, yeah, that's what probably prompted her to type it in. Between that and that's also about the time I was saying I didn't know if you were in my age range and all that. It's probably an amalgamation of all of that, but regardless, really funny. So thank you for that, Gina. Oh, that's pretty good. Texas Law Dog, you had a bad day. Oh, I am sorry to hear that. So, is a bad day at the office for you? Are you in law enforcement? If you are, I can imagine your bad day at the office would probably not compare to about anybody else's bad day at the office. So we have another supersized card here. Thurman Munson, Yankees. Of course, once again, facsimile signature on there. Not the real deal, but a printed signature. And of course, we are last box mojo time. You know how that works. On the last box, we try to laser focus our mojo and hope that we can get a big, smoking, fiery hit out of here. That's the general idea. See, Gina, you're cheering up everybody. How about that? I like it. Oh, family related today. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope it gets better for you, Texas Law Dog. Family stuff can be challenging in many ways. All right. Let's find something awesome here in our last box. I feel like we can do it. I feel like we can conjure it. Let's hope I'm right. Another news flashback. We have lots of news flashbacks tonight. Seems like sometimes those come out more than they do others. Realistically, it probably would be the exact same every time, but it feels like some breaks have more news flashbacks than others. And that is a team name variation for Jacob deGrom and the Mets. So I'm going to say that's probably a color swap up there. But anyway, it says team name. That's how we know what it is. How handy is that? Very. They only started adding that recently. We used to not, had to guess sometimes. Be like, I know that's a variation, but why? Yeah, you have to think about it. But now it tells us for everything except the base card short prints. It doesn't tell us for those, but we know those start at 401 and go up. Oh my goodness, your grandma passed away, but they revived her at the hospital. Oh man, and she's in the ICU now. Well, that, yeah, I think that qualifies as more than a rough day. Man. Well, I am glad to hear that they revived her. That's the good news. Hopefully they'll get her back on track in the ICU. But, yeah, I can understand how that would be a pretty scary day. Not a good thing to deal with. I lost the last of my grandparents not too awfully long ago. I guess about a year and a half ago, my last remaining grandparent passed. So yeah, I know what that is some scary stuff. And a relic is our hit out of the last box. It is Clubhouse Collection Josh Harrison with Pittsburgh Pirates. Josh Harrison in the house. You know, I was kind of hoping that we were going to get a little red ink signature or something. But, yeah. But we didn't. But still, if you got the Pittsburgh Pirates, you're glad to have that hit. So, all right, we're going to work like that. Robinson Cano, he's still a Mariner on that card. Scratch off. Some of these guys who've changed teams I'm so accustomed to them being with one team, I really have a hard time thinking about. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take me of seeing Bryce Harper in a Phillies uniform before I don't want to say Nationals every time I see his name. You know, it just becomes automatic. You just start thinking, you see a guy and you think the team. I've got to reprogram myself on a lot of these guys. Of course, it can be written on the card, which obviously will help me, but just out of habit. Sometimes I'll say the old team just without even thinking. It's so automatic. All right, after we look through this last little bit, we are still going to have stuff to do with random, giving away those news flashback cards and sorting out our multi-team things so that we can figure out how those are going to be divvied up. So we are still going to have a few things to do housekeeping wise, even after we look at the last of these. Then after we do our housekeeping stuff, then we will recap. Of course, there's not a ton to recap in here, one hit per box, but we'll recap a few of our other parallels and things that are set aside as well. So a few little interesting things to look at. Zachariel, yes. See, I'm getting better. I'm getting better. After sorting them a few times, it becomes easier. That's another just base short print. Oh, a mini. Woohoo! There was something else good hiding. A Justin Upton mini. And it is also, of course, a short print and a base card short print, and it's numbered to 100. Angels got the mini. Love it. Love it, love it. All in all, not bad. I mean, we got the mini, we got the 1/1 Superfractor. I mean, got the nice Joe Torre auto. All in all, not bad half, right? That's how I'm feeling anyway. I'm feeling like it was a pretty good one. Okay, so first things first, we've got a few, probably 3, maybe 4 different configurations. So I have to sort them into the configurations here so that we know what we're doing, because we'll have to do a random for each configuration. Basically, it's going to work like this. Each spot on the card is going to be assigned a position, so like 1, 2, 3, 4 type thing. And then we'll use random.org to award it. So, for instance, we'll just do these first. So this would be 1, this would be position 2, position 3. And all these cards are laid out the same way. So what I will do is go to random. I'll type in 1, 2, and 3. And because I have 10, well, here's the deal. When I have 9 or fewer items in a list, we do random 3 times. The first 2 don't count. The third random is the one that makes the decision. If we have 10 or more items in a list, then random is only done once. And that's how the decision is made. Obviously, only 3 items in this list. Once again, this will be representative of 1, this position on the card 2, and the lower right-hand corner, position number 3. And that's how we're going to kind of rinse and repeat with each of those multi-team cards. But this is the first stack of them up. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And once again, you ignore the first random and ignore the second one. The third one coming up here counts. There you'll see it 3 times. Our date and time stamp. It comes up to bidding position number 1. So that is the big picture right there at the top. Now I put this one in a sleeve so that I can mark on the sleeve which position. So when I sort these later, I won't have to go back and watch. See, on the sleeve, not on the card. Okay, so Tampa Bay Rays, we'll just look through these really quickly. Astros, National, Rays, Mets, Red Sox, Brewer, Tampa Bay Rays, the A's, the Red Sox, the Rays, Astros, Red Sox, Nats, A's, Brewers, Red Sox, Rays, Red Sox, Brewer, A, Red Sox, Astro. All right, so that's how those are awarded. And they are all ready to go. Next up, same deal, bidding position 1, or not bidding, random position. That's 1, 2, 3. Lower left is 4, lower right is 5. So we're going to just head right back over here to our dear friend random and do the same thing with this other little group of cards. If I can get us to the right spot, we are anyway. Oh, look what I just did. Daggone it. Let's try that again. Doesn't do me much good when they're all on the same line now, does it? All right, we ignore the first one. Ignore the second one. Here comes our third and final. 3 times, date and time stamp. Once again, comes up to bidding position number 1. What are the odds? I would think not that high, but yet, there you go. That is how it came out. 2 in a row. So bidding position 1 here is the upper left. Once again, on the sleeve, not the card. So we are talking Cubbies, Cubs, 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 and Cubs. How handy. They're all Cubs. All right, that's how that goes. Then we have same deal, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to go give these 2 a whirl over here on random. What do we ever do before random.org, right? Well, you can roll dice and do all kinds of other stuff, but this is much easier and more transparent. All right, ignore the first one and the second one. Here comes our third and final. 3 times, date and time stamp, and comes up to bidding position 1 again. That is just crazy. Like, that never happens. Never happens like that. For real, never happens like that. Crazy. But tonight, random.org is all about the number 1, isn't it? So, these 2 both will be headed to the Colorado Rockies. Then we still have a couple other little odds and ends to do here. We've got then and now. Those are going to go in as left and right. So same scenario, but instead of 1 and 2, I'll just enter them as left and right because that's, I think, easier in this particular scenario. All right, ignore the first one and the second one. Third one tells the story 3 times. Date and time stamp goes to the right-hand side of the card. So we'll take a buzz through these. Now, again, I do know some of these are going to have the same team on both the left and the right, but as I mentioned earlier, it's just easier for me to keep all the then and nows separate. So there's the Nationals, Rays, Rockies, Royals, Rays, A's, Brewers, and Mets. That's how those are divvied up. Next up, we've got ourselves a little stack of news flashback cards, which I'm going to put in a team bag to write on. So that's Marshall football team, Janis Joplin, PBS, voting age lowered to 18, Apollo 13, aborted mission, something about sending something to Venus, American Top 40 hits the airwaves, and Nixon meets Elvis in the Oval Office. Those are our news flashback cards. They are going to go as one group to a single team. So in this instance, I'm going to bring you with me to the spreadsheet first, where we're going to copy all of the team names from our spreadsheet. And then we'll roll back over here to random one more time. And this time, you know, we got 30 teams in here. We don't have to worry about doing random 3 times here because we've got 10 or more items in our list. We're just going to do random once. Whoever ends up in the number 1 position after we randomize will get those. So scrolling through so you can once again see that every team was copied and pasted in there as it should be. Good luck, everybody. Comes up to the Rockies. So the Colorado Rockies getting the little news flashbacks cards here. Somewhere. Well, looks like, where did I put my Sharpie? There it is. All right, so the Rockies with those. Now we can move into taking a look at what we need to recap here. So let's get that done. All right, that is numbered to 999, Paul DeYoung, Cardinals. Also to 999, Aguilar for the Brewers. To 570, Lorenzo Cain and the Brewers. And to 570 for the Phillies, Jake Arrieta. Our scratch-off games, Seattle Mariners with Robinson Cano. The Blue Jays with Justin Smoke, Cubbies with Rizzo, Altuve for the Astros, Freeman for the Braves, and Chris Davis for the Oakland A's. We have a nice little mini that is also base card short print and numbered to 100, Justin Upton for the Angels. This is a team name variation, color swap most likely, for Jacob deGrom and the Mets. That's an action image variation. Chris Bryant and the Cubbies. That is action image. That is deGrom for the Mets. A box topper for the Phillies. 50th anniversary stamped. Jim Bunning original 1970 card. The Red Sox J.D. Martinez action image variation. Then the rest of these are high, well, see, I keep wanting to say high number short prints because they're the high part of the checklist, but it's a base card short print technically. That, however, is a box topper for the Twins. Card from 1970. Once again, remember, well-loved, off-centered miscut, part of its charm. For the Mets, base card short print. For the Nats, action image Bryce Harper variation. The Cubbies, base card short print. Nunez for the Red Sox, black border. Typically, those are not numbered, but they are typically announced as a print run of about 50. I assume it's the same. Shohei Ohtani, base short. Justin Upton, base card short. Jake Arrieta, base card short print. Now, there are most certainly additional base card short prints that I did not catch when we went through live. I will catch them when we're sorting, so don't worry. And all the cards ship, so you're going to get it regardless. But just FYI, I'm quite certain there are plenty I did not catch that will be found in the sort. Josh Harrison for the Pirates Clubhouse Collection Relic. Edwin Encarnacion for the Indians Clubhouse Collection Relic. Our autograph is Joe Torre on a Cardinals card back when he was a catcher. So that's a reprint, of course, of his 1970 card that is signed there. A Clubhouse Collection, Eddie Rosario and the Twins with a relic. There's that handsome 1/1 Superfractor for my Cincinnati Reds with one Scooter Gennett on it. Clubhouse Collection, Severino and the Yankees. Our last relic is Jacob deGrom and the Mets. And then our other box toppers, the last of our recap stuff here, our supersized cards, facsimile signatures printed on there, Thurman Munson and the Yankees, Shohei Ohtani and the Angels. That is Nolan Ryan for the Mets and the Orioles with Brooks Robinson. Okay, so that's the break for tonight. That's the recap for tonight. I will put up spreadsheet information one final time here for anybody who might have missed it earlier. This is your chance to get a look at your projected shipping date, and then we'll also take a quick look at the breaks that are coming up here in the days ahead for anybody who might be interested in that. So once again, anticipating a Friday shipping date. As always, if my week goes well, something might get out to you faster than that. If my week goes way off the rails, it could slide a day later into Saturday. But for right now, my best guess is about Friday to get this stuff out the door and on the way to you. So our breaks that are coming up tomorrow night, we're going to do a 4-box break of Origins football first off the line, a full case of Inception baseball, which is a new release for tomorrow, and a full case of Cornerstones basketball, which is also a new release product for tomorrow. On Thursday, a 3-box inner case of Onyx Preferred Players autographed baseballs. We're going to do 2019 Leaf Draft football. That's right. It's the first of our 2019 football, and I'm kind of jazzed. It's going to have 60 hits in there. The hits are packaged separately. They will be the only thing broken in the break. The packs contain only base cards, and the base cards we're not going to deal with. So instead, each bidding position is going to get a handful of base packs shipped to them along with their hits, right? That's better anyway, huh? More fun. You can open them at home. Then we'll do Leaf Valiant baseball and National Treasures football all on Thursday night. So it's going to be loads of fun. Friday, Leaf Autograph football jersey, Cornerstones basketball, Inception baseball, and 2019 Leaf Draft football. Saturday is an off night, so I can get my March Madness on when my UK Wildcats hopefully will be playing. You never know if we get bounced in round 1, but I don't think we will. On Sunday, we'll be back at it with a Gold Rush autographed basketball jersey, a half case of encased football, a 6th case of Leaf Valiant baseball, and a 20-box case of Leaf Metal Sports Heroes Hobby. It's a multi-sport product. Spots are sold by the first letter of the last name. The whole break is listed in the football category, just because that's where I put multi-sport stuff usually. So that is the deal. That's what's coming up in the days ahead. So thanks again, everyone, for being here tonight, spending part of your evening with me. I always appreciate the company. And we will see you again soon. Oh, and Ed, thank you, too. I appreciate you being here. And Texas Law Dog, I hope your grandmother gets better soon, my friend. All right, guys and gals, I am out of here. Gina, I'm going to keep an eye on Vermont in that tournament, too. You best not mess up my bracket. No, I'm kidding. It wouldn't be your fault if my bracket gets messed up. All right, we'll see you next time, guys. Bye now.